Sorry, you had a tough experience.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very nice to be back.
Good. Likewise. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Sarah. Excuse me, I'm well, thank you.
Morning to you.
Hi, is that hi?
Yes.
Hello. Nice to see you.
Yes, nice to see you.
Where are you now?
I'm in here now. Yes.
Oh, still, how nice.
Yes.
Okay. Lovely. We should talk soon. Yes.
Are you with Meta, Hung?
No.
Not this
Meta
time.
is not. Yes, not this time.
No. Are you having some swims in Hua Hin?
Yes, but because I think it's after the earthquake, is the water is quite not so clean, you know.
Oh,
a
really?
lot of seaweed. Yes.
And any problems in Hua Hin from the earthquake?
No. It's quite normal. Yes, as usual.
Okay, I saw a note that Ajahn is ready. I can't see. Oh, yes. Ajahn, are you here now?
Yes, Sawadika, everyone.
Sawadika, Ajahn.
Yes.
It's just exchanging different stories, different accounts, daily life, but we know they're all just ideas and fantasies and stories about what has all gone already. But it's daily life. We continue to live life as usual. And does anyone have any topic they would like to bring up today?
I have one I could start with.
Go ahead, Anne.
I've heard many times, and I think I understand, but John always says it's whatever has arisen, it's already gone, or it's already gone. And I'm thinking that's because by the time there is an awareness of something appearing, and I don't mean sati, I mean by the time we know something it is appearing, it's already, for instance, seeing visible object, it's already, by the time we know, because it's by way of nimitta that we would know, the object has disappeared, sorry, it's fallen away.
And I think the understanding gets closer and closer to the truth. Like now, when we're talking about different stories about Nina's trip and Hung and Hua Hin, and we know that the seeing, the harness, the different realities experienced have all gone. But like you say, even now, even when there is nimitta of the reality of visible object, actually visible object is gone. So this clinging all day to the visible object, the sound, the odor, the taste, and each one is gone.
Yeah.
So it's always gone. So
yeah, well, I just got thinking
why the
about
clinging
that.
is so useless. Yes.
I got thinking about that a bit and thought I'd just raise it here.
In the case of, say, a painful bodily feeling, I suppose it's also correct to say that it's gone in the sense you mentioned, but the painful bodily feeling, I think we're talking about noticing in the conventional sense, right? That's what your question relates to.
Yes.
I used to think there was probably a significant time lag between the appearing and the noticing because of the processing involved. But I'm thinking with something like painful bodily feeling, it must be almost immediate that it's noticed. So it's fairly instantaneous, I would say, but for the reason you mentioned, then it's probably the nimitta. Well, when painful bodily feeling is experienced, it's not the nimitta, obviously. The nimitta is not involved at the moment of
okay.
actual.
Tell me about that.
Well, the pain is there. The painful bodily feeling arises.
Okay, so it's the feeling then that's not the right.
But
Because it's not.
noticing the feeling
Mhm.
would involve the nimitta of the feeling. But the actual feeling or the experience, the feeling of the bodily pain is instantaneous to the impingement of the hardness on the body.
So you mean instantaneous as not, I'm going to use the word wait for, but that's the wrong word, because it all seems to be instantaneous. Although we know that, for instance, with visible object or sound, it is the nimitta well, sound is experience, but it's the nimitta. It would take until the nimitta forms. That's again the wrong word, I'm sure. But it take till there is a nimitta to notice it and be aware of it. But I don't. Why wouldn't it be the same with pain? Because and there can be no nimitta of the pain. You're saying, well, this is interesting, isn't it? Maybe you can say it again, Jonathan.
Well, I was just thinking the hardness impinges on the body sense, and the painful feeling arises together with that hardness that impinges. Sorry, together with the experiencing of the hardness, because it's an unpleasant object. It's intrinsically unpleasant.
And it wouldn't, and a visible object.
In the case of visible
couldn't be
object,
the same way.
Well, I'm not sure it is, because instantaneously there's the processing of the visible object into shapes of people and things.
Yes, yeah.
Which isn't the case, doesn't have to be the case with a painful bodily feeling. If one's thinking in terms of the cause of the feeling, painful feeling, of course that involves mental processing.
Yeah, it does.
The actual experiencing of the painful feeling the painful bodily feeling would occur contemporaneously with the experiencing of the hardness. I would have thought.
Okay. Think about that. What you're saying makes sense. It also, can there not be a nimitta of feeling?
Yes, there can be. If we're talking about being aware of the feeling, for example. But feeling feels. That's its function. So, yeah.
And my immediate thought, and I'm not trying to dissuade you here, but at all, my immediate thought is, well, seeing sees.
Yes,
I understand the difference you're talking about.
Right.
The forming up of you know, what do you call it? People and things.
Ideas of people and things. Mental images.
Peoples and things. Yeah. Yes. And that's not true of the pain, other than maybe if you feel it before you think, oh my gosh, it's my ankle, it's my whatever. I don't know. Anybody else wanting to weigh in, perhaps? John, is it time for you to help us here? or help me.
Can I jump in?
Oh,
Morning.
absolutely.
Morning.
Talking about pain and nimitta. I had experienced pain, and I was applied to that. You know, I had a stethoscope, and I didn't use painkiller or anesthesia because the doctor just want to know that when the sling was in and the patient will feel pain and which way, in which direction, because most of the patient, all of his patient want as anesthesia. So I had that, and I was thinking, and when later on when we talking about the nimitta, yes, pain at the moment it was painful. I mean, that 3 nurses have to tackle me on the bed, otherwise I might fall off. But I survived, and you remember that pain. And actually the pain is gone. And afterward, you didn't feel anything for 12 hours. But in the following day, the effect in the intestine came back. And I didn't know the feeling, but once you remember the nimitta, because on Friday I was running out from the building in Bangkok, you know, when the earthquake was quake, and you were thinking, because I wasn't thinking about, look, that will be dangerous. I just said, okay, my akusala kamma, my akusala vipaka, I got to run. And I tried to calm my friends, and I said, wait, walk slowly, think, and just move, you know, don't, because there's 10,000 people in the convention hall rushing out, panicking, because the Bangkokian was so sensitive with everything. And if we were from Chiang Mai, we had experienced earthquakes so many times. So nimitta is that fear, because at that moment, and my look at them would be different, because I was hearing all the people talking about the moment that the shake. So I guess, I don't know that may make my point clear, but everything was already past. So I think about the pain, and maybe the earthquake is just fresh, you know, people talking, and then they start to collecting informations, they start to sharing, and they couldn't find even a single second of peace. It's a very interesting experience to observe and to think about whether it's Dhamma now. Can we remember that this is Dhamma, this is the collective akusala vipaka, this is the all sort of thing, that all the teaching is coming back in the moment. And I thought this is I always looking at things in a positive way, that I said, if I haven't experienced this, when did I will recollect that everything is Dhamma?
What do you mean by collective akusala vipaka?
Well, everyone that rush out, 10,000 of people, it's a collective akusala. Well, it's
no
I know it's such a
thing.
word. It's one at a time, and an individual, I know, but
no collective vipaka, very
no,
common
sorry.
idea that people have.
Sorry, I just
like now, the vipaka, the seeing now at this moment, not shared by anyone else, just for a moment. Yeah. And what about at the moment of thinking about the other's response and the comparing kusala or akusala? Because
it was just like, it's interesting how people react, but not to compare. I didn't compare anything. I was just like, it's interesting, but this is from whatever I accumulate in the Western way of learning, that you kind of, my job is to collect information and digest it, and as a publisher, so I just digest it as my profession, but as the the student of Dhamma, for myself at the moment, it was such a good time to recollect what we have heard, what we have discussed, and it's only for the reality that's happening right in front of you that you can think about it. And that was just
seeing
wonderful.
now, thinking about the others now, usually with our kusala cheetahs about their responses, because actually it's just the world at this moment, seeing now, hearing now, one moment of vipaka, nothing collected, no others in truth. So
No.
the thinking is real, the seeing is real, but actually no others, no people with their ideas, just one Dhamma at a time.
But there's a saying also written in the Tipitaka that people with similar kind of karma, they were kind of born in the same sort of family, in the same. I can't remember the title of the sutra, but there were one that said that. So it just that's perhaps when I apply the wrong English terminology of accumulated. So
like now, people may think it's the same kusala vipaka to all listen to the Dharma discussion, but that's not the right way of thinking, because the vipaka is just for a moment. No one can share the vipaka now. No one, we cannot say that everyone has kusala vipaka at this moment and akusala vipaka at the moment of being in the earthquake, because it's just for a moment, even at those moments of running out. For some, seeing pleasant objects, for some, seeing unpleasant objects, for some, painful experience, for some, the opposite. It's just always whatever we read about, whatever we hear about, it's just for a moment.
Yeah. No,
even in a family, everyone, different experiences at each moment.
Yeah.
But I think the points everyone's making is, what's gone is good. And last time, Jilly mentioned about paying attention or making decisions, and we discussed how nothing can be done at all, because whatever arises, the seeing now is gone by the time there is thinking about what to see, what to hear, what to think. It's all gone. Each one is gone, all anatta. Nothing to be done, no one to do anything. What occurred a moment ago, a seeing a moment ago, all gone. So we think about the story of Akusala Vipaka and the earthquake, but it's just thinking about the drama, or we think about the others' responses and what they're doing and this and that, but it's just the thinking now that's real. But interesting topic. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add more comments to any parts of the discussion.
I think that we learn Dhamma in our own way, not the way Buddha taught about the very subtlety of all kinds of Dhamma. That's why hearing any word, we think by our own accumulation. But people have different accumulation. That's why there's so many ideas about everything. For example, nimitta, whose word? The Buddha's word. What he said, all dhammas appear by way of nimitta, great understanding of the truth, because it seems that the world is so very solid, not break up at all any moment. But the truth is quite different from what appears, because as soon as one opens one's eyes again, or even right now, so many things around. Is that true?
Yes.
Or how very little, so fine reality is there. Even just one, we take for one seeing. How many moments of seeing? It's not just only one moment of seeing appears to be known at all. That's why whatever appears from his enlightenment, the truth is revealed, opened up to the highest understanding of the truth. That's why even what is that taken for just that's a piece of whatever a unit. It's nimitta of that. So imagine only one reality now can be object of understanding. Think about that. And what about what around now? So many things. Do they appear true at moment of understanding the truth of just one reality? Even so, it's by way of nimitta, etc. Learn to understand more and more of the words of the truth about the process and everything. And no one can imagine the moment when a reality only one appears to right understanding at that moment, to understand the anatta, the reality of only that. But still, it is by way of nimitta, because there are many moments of what is there. For example, the moment of Bhavanka, the moment of Panchatavara Vachana, the moment of Sampatichana, and so on. Do they appear at moment of seeing? But there are chittas before seeing and chittas after seeing. But now seeing is there. So when time comes to understand just one reality, it has to be even that by way of nimitta. Imagine how far from the Buddha's understanding, his great virtues, and the one who just knew nothing about what is there right now. What is there? So many moments, so many realities arising and falling away so rapidly, unknown. It seems like the world is permanent, but in truth, not at all. How can it become to be known as it's not permanent? It has to be understanding of the truth of whatever is there right now as it is. Little by little, just one reality at a time. And this moment, having heard and begin to understand the truth, how far to understand the truth that whatever appears, even just one characteristic of a reality, is by way of nimitta, not single one at all. Imagine the world of truth, the world of no one, the world of nothing, only the arising and falling away of one reality at a time, only one by one. When seeing is the experience with understanding of its truth, not that which is seen appear. Imagine the understanding of that as anatta, no one and nothing at all, only one reality at a time. That's why no matter what appears, even that must be by way of nimitta, just like now, but only one reality at a time. The other things lost. They cannot be there together when Panya is that degree of understanding the truth of one reality. Because when there are many realities, how can the truth of each one can appear? It has to be only one reality at a time. That's why even right now or anytime, even that moment of experiencing that, it's just nimitta of that object. Otherwise, what is meant by the enlightenment of the Buddha, no one can compare. Great degrees of understanding, the virtues of understanding, beyond anyone can expect. Because even the moment of understanding the truth, the one who hasn't heard about the truth cannot believe at all about the truth of the reality, even nama and rupa, seeing, liking, hardness, softness. It seems like it can be known in daily life, but not as its truth at all. It is known as something, not as it is. That's why study Dhamma, not in our own way, according to the truth, the subtlety, very subtle reality, subtle truth. It's so subtle. Buddha taught about just one reality at a time to be known. At this moment, it seems like there is seeing. But what about the sequence, the other reality which arises together, and so on? That's why the truth, the Arya Satya, is beyond expectation, beyond imagination, beyond any kind of wishes to have it appear as such and such. It's in one's own way of thinking, not according to the truth, which is so very subtle. Otherwise, how can there be the understanding of what is true and what is not true? What is true, seeing now, is what? Nimitta of the seeing. That's why there are so many different degrees of understanding. Sariputta, Moggallana, Kassapa, and so on. And what about now, people today? That's why each word should be considered so carefully. And that is what is meant by parami, the accumulation, little by little, to understand the truth. Parami is just to understand the truth, to let go ignorance and attachment, which arises how many moments in a day? Unknown, uncountable, adding more and more ignorance and attachment. That's why begin to understand the danger of ignorance. But it seems so pleasant with ignorance, enjoy life and so on. So it's so very, very difficult to have such understanding of the benefit of understanding the truth, the most precious moment in life. And at that very moment of beginning understanding the truth, it let go ignorance and attachment and the other kinds of reality. Gradually, little by little, is at the point to let go all kinds of akusala. Otherwise, it's just wanting, wishing to understand this and that and think about it in one's own way, according to accumulation. But what is the truth? Each word of the truth shared by the enlightenment. Otherwise, how can anyone understand the truth of this moment? We just dream about it, talk about it, thinking that there is understanding of it. But what about seeing right now? It's the ignorance of seeing, no understanding. What seeing really is not that which is seen. So it's time to enjoy having such understanding, which has never been understood before in life, little by little, to understand that the truth is so very subtle. But it can be known from now. It's there, it's so true. But the subtlety of it is not known. The subtleness of all kinds of realities cannot be known in just by our own thinking, but considering the truth of each word of truth, Dhamma. See, we're talking about Dhamma, not just any one situation or story, because they are Dhamma, unknown Dhamma again and again and again. So begin to be wise enough to understand how much ignorance take it for something all the time in life. I and the other, the world, the other world, and so on. But what is there in truth? the ultimate truth. Nothing is there as permanent at all. What is there is conditioned to arise and then gone. Instantly. See how subtle it is. So begin to understand the subtlety of the teachings of the truth. Each reality is so very subtle. Otherwise, how can anyone who become enlightened need to have more understanding, more hearing, considering, developing all kind of kusala, not give that moment to kusala, to keep on going and going and going all day. Each moment in life can be known as it is, as not the same moment at all. So begin to understand oneself. Ignorance, attachment is there so much. Even the word is heard as Dhamma. It just begin to consider about what is Dhamma. It's not just the word. It represents anything which is real right now in life, anytime. It's a reality. Seeing is real. Can it be dog or cat or bird or monkey? Not at all. Seeing is just a reality conditioned to arise to see. And just only this cannot let go, ignorance and attachment. It has to be more understanding of conditions or whatever. That's the way. It's the intellectual understanding about the truth. Very firm confidence of the truth about just one reality, Dhamma. See, even that word, no matter how much the teachings are about Dhamma, the reality of what is there, the truth of what is there right now. It can be realized because it's there, but it needs more time to be familiar to the truth, acquainted each moment as it is, to begin to attend to the characteristic of what is there, one by one, what is there in life. They are so true, each one that can be heard and studied and understood when time comes. Not to understand anything else, but what is there every moment in life. Is that the point of understanding how much ignorance, attachment, all kind of akusala covers up the truth? And how can the truth be revealed or opened up little by little to understand the very subtle truth of each truth, each reality? Even ignorance, who knows, in a day, it's there almost every moment when there's no usala moment, condition to arise. The difference between the akusala and the kusala. Its life is true, it's not in the book, it's not just a word, but it's there, as we heard. And that is the first round of the Arya Satya, Dhamma. Dhamma is real. A reality is so true, it has its own characteristic. Nobody can change it, never change at all. Satya Dhamma. Seeing. Just a very tiny moment only in truth. In truth. when it's there, experience how great Panya, which can experience that only one reality now, which sees. So we learn about it to have confidence of whatever is there in life. They are all dhammas, different kinds of realities, just conditioned to arise and fall away instantly, never to return, never to arise again, momentarily death, each moment. And Panya is the understanding of the truth, not just talk about it with one's own thought or one's own understanding, which is so very little. Just how can anyone imagine that the truth is so far away from what we are talking about? Just talk about it. But it's there. See? Talk about what? It's there right now. Unknown. Until we talk about it a little more. Why? Because it's so subtle, a little more to get closer and closer to the truth, which is not far away at all. See, but the world is very wide. But in truth, it's not just far away from just what is not as wide as we take the whole world. Is this the study of Dhamma, beginning to understand the subtlety of all kinds of whatever now appears?
John, what about the Dhamma, the Cetasika Dhammas, the fear, the pain, the joy, the sadness?
Is it real?
Yes.
Is it a reality which
Yes.
exists the
Yes.
objects?
Yes.
So it's not the citta, which is the chief,
Yes.
that experience the object clearly, but it's that which arises together, experience the same object, but it has its own characteristic when it arises. It is pain, painful feeling, or attachment, or aversion. No matter what is there can be known. Even it arises and falls away so very quickly. But the hearing about the truth, considering, is the way to begin to understand when it's there. See, when there is pain, the understanding right now can begin to attend to the pain, understanding it, as we have heard. No one there at all.
And it's just like in the case of the cheetahs, it's always nimitta of the painful feeling, nimitta of the fear, nimitta of the sadness. It's just a dharma that's gone, but can be understood by way of the nimitta. The nimitta of that characteristic can appear.
And I think it's also correct to say that the direct understanding of the truth of nimitta only becomes apparent at an advanced level of understanding. So for us, for example, if there's understanding of visible object or sound or any reality, painful bodily feeling, whether it's the reality or the nimitta, is not significant. Because there's just the awareness and understanding of the characteristic of something, and that's the way it is. So, but at some point, because as Ajahn said, the Buddha explained that all realities appear by way of their nimitta. I'm not sure if there's a direct statement to that effect, but he certainly, from my reading of the commentaries and so forth, the fact of nimitta has an aspect of life in samsara is something that's emphasized, because nibbana is without nimitta. And so there's the development of the understanding which leads to the experiencing of that does not have nimitta. But I think at this stage, it doesn't really matter whether one knows about
Long way
don't
off.
take this the wrong way. It doesn't matter whether one knows about it or not, because it doesn't have any bearing on the understanding of what appears at the present moment.
Right.
And the main point is it's the pain, the sadness, the hearing, each one, it's anatta.
Yes.
It's not my fear. And referring to Chili's comment, hi Chili, it's not my akusala vipaka that I'm experiencing.
Right.
It's just a moment of painful feeling. It's just a moment of bodily experience. It's just a moment of hearing or seeing or fear. Each one arising and falling and away, not belonging to me, not my experience at all.
Right. Can we go back briefly, maybe, to what Jonathan and I were discussing a little earlier about painful bodily feeling?
Do you like to give a summary of the main point, Anne, because some of us may have missed it?
Oh, well, Jonathan will correct me, I'm sure. I had thought that painful feeling would appear through nimitta. I guess I was thinking of it being a mental feeling. Well, I guess there's both. There's the bodily, and the impingement, the immediate pain, which I somehow also thought would appear through nimitta, but perhaps not.
Yes, so at a moment of touching something very hot, this painful bodily feeling at that moment
Yes.
through the body sense, through the body
Yes.
doorway.
Yes.
And that painful feeling isn't known at that moment. It arises for a moment and then is gone. And countless moments of painful bodily feeling arise, each one gone instantly. But the characteristic can appear only through the mind door, and it is by way of nimitta, different from what is referred to as the mental painful feeling, the unpleasant mental feeling that arises with dosa. So usually a moment of painful bodily feeling followed by countless moments of dosa with unpleasant mental feeling. So that feeling too, different from the painful bodily feeling, that unpleasant feeling too, or that dosa also can appear through mind door by way of nimitta. So it's always not one painful feeling, or whether bodily or mental, but many, 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 countless. And it can only ever appear by way of nimitta.
Okay, thank you. I think that's helpful.
I'm just wondering whether...
Not mine, not my painful feeling at all.
Whether it's the word appear that's significant here. To say that all dhammas appear by way of nimitta does not possibly mean the same as all dhammas are experienced by way of nimitta.
That's a good comment, John.
Yes.
One of those.
Yes.
Thank you.
Appear and experienced by nimitta.
Cognized. All dhammas are cognized
by nimitta.
By way of nimitta.
For
there
example,
wouldn't-
sound is heard. It is experienced
Yes,
by hearing in the sense door. It can also be appear, can be experienced by way of nimitta. So
nimitta.
it can appear, it can be experienced through the ear door. But when it appears, it's always by way of nimitta. So a
Right.
subtle difference, yeah.
That's what I think. Yes. So when it's experienced, of course. So is nimitta experienced, or it appears following the experiencing of, in this case, the sensual object, that through the sense door?
Through the sense door, the sound is experienced
Experienced.
through hearing.
Right.
But when it appears, when it can be known, when there's any idea of sound, it's always the
Oh, so the
nimitta
Yeah.
of sound that is experienced and that appears at that moment.
Okay. I think I've got it. The words can be very, very, it's subtle, the difference in the words. And yet once you understand it, it's not so subtle. But no, it's always subtle. The depth of the soul. Let's not go there. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, that's helpful. That's really useful.
And Chili, were you going to say something? I saw you turn on your video a few moments ago. Are you going to add anything?
Sarah, no, I think I'm best just listening.
That's
I'm
fine.
learning. But thank you.
Good to see you anyway. Yes. And I'm wondering if Kim Hong or Tiffany or any of the other relatively newcomers here have anything they would like to bring up or ask about?
Yes. Thank you. Remember,
Just half a second, Betty. I think Tiffany was just about to speak, so I'll just give her a chance first because she's new. Go ahead, Tiffany.
Ajahn, hello, Sarah, everyone. Last week, I think, or the week before, we spoke about the nimitta, and one of the guy here, I think it was Robert, said something about the gana. No, it was like I was referring to the atom, and you said something about the Mahaputaru and the 8 other rupa, and I was reflecting on that, and I thought the Buddha is so amazing. And as human, we can only see the atom and the electron at that moment, and he can see finer details in that, the Mahaputarupa that us human can never imagine. And I was, really amazed at his panya, or his enlightenment. That's all I wanted to say. And I'm sorry, sometimes I can't find the way to come to the class, or a bit late. And yeah, I'd just like to apologize for that as
No
well.
need
And
to.
I'm new at the technology. I don't know how to turn on, turn off. Thank you.
Anyway, very glad to see you and just join when you can. Always glad to hear you. And it's good that you've been considering what you've heard. And yes, without a Buddha, we would have no idea that about 8 rupas arising together in one tiny group, one tiny kalapa, but just one experience at a time. So when we talk about sound being heard, it has to arise with the 4 Mahabhuta rupas and another 4 rupas, but only the sound impinges on the ear sense and gone instantly. And like we've been saying, the dharmas arise and fall away so rapidly. So actually, it's always only the nimitta, the sign of the characteristic of that sound that can ever be known. But amazing, as you say, the Buddha's knowledge, omniscient knowledge, that he could know such details, and which can never be known by scientists, and which are about the absolute realities, whereas the atoms and so on, which the scientists find out about, are not about the realities.
Yeah.
So it is amazing.
It's just another
So the
nimitta,
reality,
isn't it?
Yeah.
the realities that the Buddha talked about are capable of being known by awareness and understanding, but of course not to the degree, to the level of detail that the Buddha's knowledge went. But the reason he explained about, for example, the Mahabhuta Rupas was so that there could be the appreciation and the basis for awareness and understanding of, for example, visible object as the object of eye consciousness, or sound as the object of ear consciousness, or hardness as the object of body consciousness. And some of these are the Mahabhuta Rupas, but one by one and little by little, the different realities can come to be known. Thank you.
I think, I don't know if it was that same discussion, because there were so many deep topics that have been discussed, but we also discussed how it cannot be one group or one reality that can be known. It always appears as nimitta, and that this is because of Ghana Sanya, which is the like the collection of the dharmas together. So it's always by way of or because of Ghana Sanya. Sanya is the memory, so it's the memory of the group or the whole. So it's very deep, very, very subtle. In the beginning, we learn, okay, it's just the understanding of hardness, one reality. But then we begin to learn that it's has to be by way of the sign, the nimitta. And then we begin to appreciate that the reason why is because of this Ghana Sanya. Many points. Anything else, Tiffany?
Jonathan brought up the 6 doorways before, and I always got a bit confused with the body sense and the hataya vato, the
Atu,
mind.
yes.
Yeah. And I've always go back to the scientific background. I always think that, the body senses all the nerve endings on your body, and then the hataya must be somewhere in your brain or somewhere else. But I'm not very clear about that.
It's almost like we have to just leave aside our scientific knowledge, or for me, I came as a trained psychologist, so we discuss the same issues, but it's from a totally different approach because it's a conventional approach. So when we start talking about the Hadiya Watu and we start thinking about brains and nerve endings, it's just going to lead to more confusion, because the Hadiya Watu is just one rupa which arises and falls away in a group like other groups of rupas. And it's not in what we conventionally call the brain. And it's one rupa which is the base for the arising of all the other chittas, apart from seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, and bodily experience. All other rupas need this rupa, the base, for their arising. But it doesn't appear. So we just learn about it intellectually, but it doesn't appear. But it has to be there, arising from the very first moment of this life. So at the moment of birth, at the moment of conception, just 3 tiny groups of rupas, the body sense group of rupas, the sex, male or female group of rupas, and the Hadiavatu group of rupas, arising and falling away. So it arises and falls away throughout life, and is the base for the arising of the Chittas and most of the Chittas and Chaitasikas in this realm.
Yeah. That's
So
where
I would
got
say,
confused.
don't try to equate scientific ideas about nerves and brains with the Dhammas. Otherwise, it will never be clear. It will always be confusing.
That's right.
2 different topics of different aims and goals.
Mhm.
That's my one suggestion, Tiffany. Let's see if Ajahn would like to add anything. Betty, just be patient a little bit longer. Ajahn, would you like to add anything to Tiffany?
Is what now appearing is nimitta of
Yes.
one reality.
It's always
This word should
nimitta.
be considered carefully to understand what is meant. The truth in life, whatever is there, appears by way of nimitta. For example, seeing and thinking. See, seeing cannot be thinking. When we are talking about seeing, seeing is there. Only one single moment of seeing, or there are jittas before seeing and jitta after seeing, but they do not appear at all. So learn about the truth of what is there appearing in life. Seeing and that which is seen, hearing and sound, smelling and smell, tasting and taste, and touching that which is hard or soft, heat or cold. For example, motion. See, is that true in life? Only that which appear through one of the 6 doorways. Even there's no thinking, but there is the reality which sees, which does not think. All are real, isn't it? So, if seeing does not arise, can there be seeing? Not at all. So now seeing has arisen by conditions. No thought about the eye, a condition for seeing. And that visible object which impinges on the eye. Because at the back, what is there cannot be seen. It does not impinge on the eye. Is this life from day to day? No understanding of the truth that each moment is gone. The moment of seeing just a moment ago is not seeing right now. Hearing, gone. The next moment, the next hearing, gone again. So life is not permanent. But we use the word life as my life, one's life, the other's life. But in truth, each moment is each conditioned reality. Nobody can make anything arise at all. All depends on its proper condition to arise. Otherwise, it cannot arise at all. For the blind, no eye bears, now eye sense. They can never be seeing. See? So is there anyone in the world, in life, or only realities, different moment of conditioned realities? So there can be more understanding little by little about what conditions what to arise and fall away instantly, unknown. So it seems that life keeps on going from moment to moment. We say from moment to moment. What does it mean? A moment is gone, not permanent. So the other moment is there. Continue on and on and on. So begin to have confidence of life is not permanent, right? And what are there in life not permanent as well? That's why learn to understand the truth. No one at all. Because a dog can see, a cat can see, seeing is seeing, and there are conditions for seeing to arise. So all depends on conditions for what arises. Nothing can arise without conditions at all. So even condition is not anyone at all. So life is just Dhamma, the reality which cannot be taken for anyone because it's there, but only when it arises. As soon as it has arisen, it's gone. So it's not permanent. So how can it be anyone or anything as we take it as something permanent? Because now the shoe, the curtain, the television, they seem like they are permanent there. Nothing falls away at all. That's why the truth is different from what it appears as permanent. In truth, it's not permanent at all. Each moment, and the moment, so very, very instant. Who knows? But the truth is that we learn about one reality to understand how short it is. Only one moment of birth, is that right? And what is there as birth? Can it be the birth of a tree? Never, right? Because what we mean birth is the moment of experiencing an object. Life is the moment of experiencing the object. So the experience, the reality which experience the object is real, isn't it? No one make it arise at all, but it's real. It's there by conditions. So learn about how life, each moment is different all over the world. Never be the same moment at all. Even for one person, the moment of birth is not permanent. But it conditioned the next moment by the same conditions to be that personality or that person as a cat, a dog, a monkey, or human being. See, by conditions, all by conditions. So we learn about the ultimate truth. What are there in a moment and what appear in a moment? See, can it be learned? Can it be known? Can it be considered? But because it's so true, there is the idea of self. But even such idea is conditioned. Otherwise, there can never be such idea arising to have the idea of such and such. So begin to understand what is there, no matter when, is conditioned. Learn to be truthful to the truth. If there's doubt about anything, there can be the moment of considering whether it's true. Is doubt a reality? See? Learn to understand, to think about whatever is there, when it's there, to understand the truth of it. Is doubt a reality? Is it real? See? When it does not arise, can it be there doubt appearing? Not at all. But whenever there's doubt, it's conditioned to doubt about this and that. So what is not real? When is there arising, appearing? All are real, but for very short moments, unknown, that is gone instantly. Is that true? Begin to be firm confidence of the truth little by little. This is the way, the only way to let go ignorance, the condition for all kinds of reality, akusala, attachment to that which is not there anymore. Is that right? The foolish, the fool and the wise. The fool does not understand the truth. It's not there. And the wise begin to understand the truth because it's so true. Not one's own imagination or one's own belief, but the understanding of the truth, the very subtle truth of each reality. And the word taught by the Buddha can be studied to understand whether it's true or not just belief. So the teaching of the truth is what Buddha's teaching, the enlightened one, who has enlightened the truth, all kinds of truth, all universes, see, can be studied because seeing here and seeing there in Cambodia, in Japan, seeing. Learn to understand that even seeing does not belong to anyone, any nationality. It's there, just see and then gone. Whatever is there, it's just here, like hearing, and then gone, all gone. Until one day it's time not to be this person anymore. But that which sees, that which life, whatever is there in this life, can be conditioned for next life because so many moments in samsara, years and years ago, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, liking, disliking, and so on. Even they gone, but since they has a reason, it's there, the change of all kinds of reality, which is wholesome or unwholesome, is there. To arise again when there are right or proper conditions for its arising. It has to arise. No one can stop the way it is. Is this true? We learn to understand the truth of realities. No one there at all. So Dhamma is whatever is real. Hatred is real. It's a Dhamma. Attachment is real. It's a Dhamma. Kindness is real. It's a Dhamma. All are Dhammas. Begin to understand the meaning of the truth, the reality, Dhamma. Even we don't use any word, but it's there so real. But without the word, pinpoint to just one reality which is there. How can it be known? We mean that, only that we are talking about. Like hardness. Is there the body from head to toe? Is there only thinking that it's there? Right? Begin to understand deeper. Even the body, see, we think it's there all the time. But when it's there, it has to be known by its characteristic. So is that the body from head to toe? Or we take that which is hard and soft as the body and take it as my body, see? So many things to be understood because it's so real. So understanding is moment of understanding what is there as it is. Learn to understand the subtlety of each reality beyond expectation. beyond imagination, so amazing. See, that what is there now is not permanent at all, but it seems it's there all the time. What is true and what is not true. From birth to death, when there's no understanding of the truth of what is there, this moment, it's impossible to let go wrong understanding that everything now is permanent. Day by day, it wears away or worn out little by little until it's old and shows that it's not as before. But in truth, without each moment arising, changing from moment to moment, how can the oldness appear? The old age of whatever, human being or whatever. So this is the understanding of life. We have many subjects to learn about science and so on. But what about now? Understand that which is there as I, but in truth, anatta, no I, and no thing at all. What is there? Just one tiny reality at moment of seeing, just one moment. Can it be known? Even seeing right now, just one moment in the process of seeing. The process of seeing doesn't mean that the whole process are all seeings, but only one seeing at a time. Gone. See, but it seems like so many seeing from the time we wake up to now. The whole day seeing is there, but in truth, it's not as it is. Learn to understand the subtle truth in order to understand the subtlety of what is there, no matter when, any time, the truth is the truth. Little by little, better than no understanding of whatever is there at all. Just live and die. Pleasantness is there so true, just very short, from moment to moment, from day to day, all gone. No memory when death is there. New life begins. No thought about what has been experienced in this life at all. New person. So where am I now to be next person? Is this true? What is true is Dhamma. Talk about the ultimate truth of what is there, to be considered carefully. How much ignorance not understand the truth of the word Buddha taught, so very deep, never change at all. How many moments I'm seeing right now? See, no understanding. Can there be a moment of counting? See, between moment of seeing. So how many seeing are there? Would you like to count? Or just not necessary, impossible? Begin to understand the truth, the subtle truth of what is there. Everything, all kinds of realities, so true. Each one can be known little by little about what is taken for something like the body, my body, see. But in truth, what is body? Is that the whole body as we take it? or just the composition, the corpus, all realities are there together, but each rupa, the reality which is sad, can be chopped up very finely. See what is there? See, not the sign of what we take for leg or arm or hair or nose, only hardness that can be broken up into this very tiny piece, but it's very hard, not as the leg or the arm, because of there must be that which is there, so very little, with the akasa in between. Is it worthwhile to think about it, to begin to understand? No one at all. What are the different realities, the composition of that which is there as something taken by ignorance? So there can be compassion because Dhamma is Dhamma. No matter if we take for I or the other, attachment is attachment. Different degrees for all by conditions. Wrong understanding is very common when there is no thought, no careful considering about the truth of what is there. Even life is not permanent, and understand more what is life. Each moment, without each moment, moment to moment, can there be life? And what are there at each moment? Can be known because it's so real, but no understanding of it until hearing the truth, beginning to consider the truth and understanding the truth. The truth is Dhamma, the truth of our reality. So what is real is Dhamma.
Betty, would you like to bring in your topic now as we're getting a little short of time? Thank you very much, Ajahn. That's
sure. Wonderful. Absolutely.
Yes.
And I'm so glad I waited and had the patience. Okay. I just wanted to make a comment about last week, about the understanding of a Sotapanna, why he wouldn't have already gotten rid of conceit. And as soon as I had closed the Zoom discussion last week, the answer came right to me. So basically, because the understanding of a Sotapanna is not the full understanding of, say, an Arahant. So this is why, even after Sotapanna, and of course we know all this, but I just didn't connect it. And so that there's still conceit, and that will only be eradicated once the person becomes an Arahant, say 7 or 8 lifetimes away, whatever. So that was, so now I understand it, so I don't need to.
Thanks for sharing that, Betty. But I thought your problem was you couldn't understand how if there was no wrong view of self, how there could still be conceit.
Right.
Because I think you thought that conceit necessarily involves an idea of self.
Right. Not
so
only that, but
how do you see that now?
Well, it was more like the idea that the understanding of the Sotapanna would be the basic understanding of enlightenment. However, the understanding of an Arahant would be much greater, so that with the other levels in between, there would still be the necessity to eliminate conceit or mana.
But do you still think that conceit necessarily involves an idea of self?
This again, I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure about that. I think I'm not sure the Sotapanna. Okay, I understand that the Sotapanna has a particular level of understanding of no self. Okay, but
Has a full understanding of no self.
you would say the Sotapanna has a full understanding of no self. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Otherwise,
then you're right. I don't quite get the point that a mana would be something separate from
wrong view of self. Yeah. It's a tricky one. But basically, there can be an idea of one's relative importance or inferiority without necessarily having the notion at that moment that there is a self. Remember that the idea of a self is a belief in, it's a way of, it's a belief or supposed understanding, which is incorrect. And there can be, as I say, the sense of relative importance or unimportance, regardless of whether there is a held view in relation to the existence of a self.
John, would you care to comment on that, please?
Yes, because Sotapanna never have the idea of something permanent at all. Because the attainment of enlightened the truth as no self. That's why there can never be the idea of self as before anymore, because of understanding the nature of what is there as not self. Is that right? And Sotapanna understand what is there as it is. So at moment of mana, Sotapanna understand mana as not self. It's just a reality. Begin to understand all Dhammas as different realities. No one at all, no I. So mana is mana, just a reality. But it's there by conditions, because the first stage of enlightenment is no misunderstanding of what is there as self at all. Only that. So whatever is there by conditions, the accumulations, eons and eons ago, still are there. Attachment to sensuous object, because there are conditions for attachment to sensuous object, still there. So when there are conditions for attachment to sense object, there must be sense object, but not I, or not that permanent thing as before, like a chair, a bird, jewelry, and so on. Only that which is seen, but an attachment is there to be known little by little, to have less and less attachment to whatever is there as before, stage by stage. That's why so many realities accumulated to be less and less after becoming Sotapanna, to have less attachment to sensuous object as before becoming Sotapanna. Is that right? Otherwise, how can there be letting go of the attachment to the sensuous object? That's why even the second stage of enlightenment, there is the attachment to sensuous object, but less than being a Sotapanna. And that stage of enlightenment, the truth, have condition to have less, so to the sensuous object. And that is the stage of Sakatagami. And still the attachment to sensuous object is so there, but it's weaker until more and more understanding of the truth that has been known, enlightened to be Sotapanna and Sakatagama. It's time to end up the attachment to sensuous object, becoming Anagami. See, no more attachment to sensuous object because of the great understanding of that level. How enormous condition accumulated to be attachment to sensuous object. That's why it has to be gradually less and less. At moment of becoming of Sotapanna, to be moment of Sakatagami, and to be Anagami no more. So the kilesa is very strong that one knows when it's there. Even there is understanding of what is there as so true, but there's still condition for attachment, just like it, because it's so very pleasant. The fake diamond say, does anyone like it? Keep it, wear it, even it's fake. That's why no wrong understanding of the kilesa, of how much to be developed to let go. The clinging which has been accumulated years and years and years ago, little by little, to become less and less until no more akusla or kusla can arise at the stage of arahata. All depends on understanding the truth. That's why there are many levels of understanding the truth. For now, see, we heard a lot of the words of truth, but how much understanding of that, even at moment of attending to the characteristic of a reality, not just understand that nama is that which experiences the object, and citta is different from cittasika. They are all known by word, no doubt about what are there in word. But what about the moment of beginning to understand the nature of nama, the citta and the cittasika? That's why the first stage of enlightenment, who know nama, rupa, paricetayana, the panya at the degree, the distinction is so clear, the distinction of nama and rupa. Not we just say like now, but it's the moment when one reality appears as nama and the other nama or the rupa by conditions. So very quick and very short and so natural like now. So Panya is so truthful because it understands the truth. Even it's so subtle, stage by stage.
And just very briefly, sorry, Ajahn.
Other truth.
And just very briefly, Betty and everyone. So, for example, when there's an idea, oh, the others are listening carefully, or they're not listening, running quickly, or running slowly, panicking, not panicking. Mana is there, it can be so very, very subtle. There doesn't need to be any comparison.
Yeah.
But behind the idea of they're panicking or they're listening carefully, there is the idea of it's different from for me, but no wrong view of self at those moments of mana. So when mana arises, no wrong view, different realities, even though both arise with attachment. So when wrong view has been eradicated, still there is mana, still there is the idea of the dog should be controlled better, or this and that, or all these different ideas that are there, more and more subtle. So even the anagami, who has no clinging to sense objects at all, still the subtle lingering mana is there. Different jhana experiences or whatever, still there. So only at the stage of arahat is mana eradicated.
Yes, these so-called judgmental thoughts that Sarah has mentioned are a manifestation of conceit, because as she said, as she explained, although there's no direct comparison, it's implicit in the judgment that one's own standards are being applied to someone else. And that's the first point to make. So I think it's not difficult to see that judgmental kind of thoughts do not require belief in a self. But the other point I wanted to make for your consideration, Betty, was, I think you explained the other day that you equate so-called sense of self with wrong view of self. And when we think of conceit, we think of, me, it's me and them.
Yeah.
And of course, there is what we might call a sense of self involved there. But the question I pose for your consideration is whether sense of self is the same as wrong view of self. Because wrong view of self is a belief, not a belief, but a manifests as an understanding of the way things are in truth and reality, but it's misplaced. So that's something that you might like to think about.
Yes,
we can continue next week because time is up.
Thank you so much.
So good topic, Betty.
Claire, Don, thank you so much. That clears up a lot for me. Thank you.